brand new act of Squirrel. Today is Act 22, Adventures of Digital Girl, the dating rituals of Squirrelus Americanus, or to the rest of the world, how I met Digital Girl. I kept tracking my brain for several things that were maybe more profound with reviews and things, but this is the one that stuck today, and I figured, why not? Sounds like fun, so we're going to do it and see how it goes. Dating was never a thing. I loved to date. I loved the idea of actually having a girlfriend in high school, but just never really happened. And so when I went to college, it was kind of cool because there was other weird, awkward people like me, which meant my chance was higher, and I didn't have to compete with all the jocks and that kind of stuff. And there was enough other people. But even then, it took me a little while to get into actually dating, if that makes any sense. My first one, we shall call the librarian, and she was a very, very sweet person, very quiet, very timid, but she had a really good heart, and I felt hard for her. I really did. And she was a couple years older than me. I think I was like a sophomore. She was a senior, something like that. So time happened, things occurred. I think I was falling hard, and I was building dreams and that kind of stuff. And she was looking at the future of the world. She graduates, and I took it really hard. And somewhere in my, heartbreak-addled, late teens, early, maybe late teenage years, 19, 20 brain, you decide to do something. So I knew I was going to do something foolish. So this is when I decided that I went to a Goodwill or an outlet shop, something like that, and I found this very large, olive green trench coat that I wore, and I thought it looked really cool. And that was fine until I decided to shave my head because I needed to do something foolish because my heart was broken and I needed to do ridiculous things, and nobody was happy about that. I pissed off my parents because they were going to family pictures. My boss looked at me and said, "Don't you ever do that again." And then I went to school, and that was the year that I took a music class, and that's where I first met Digital Girl. I was taking fill in the music thing. She just loves music. She actually has a music degree. And so I think she was doing it because she just loved being in there, loved doing music, that kind of thing. So I spent the semester standing in the back line singing baritone and singing Russian and Italian songs. And then I got to know her. So we just clicked really well for whatever reason it was. And every time we walked through the main sort of student center, at that point, that our place was called Atwood, we'd always stop and we'd talk longer than we planned on. But at that point, we were just friends, sort of casual conversations, nothing too big that way. And that's where I was able to enter, I don't know, maybe we'll call her Nitrous Girl, because she managed to blow a lot of things up around me, and I blew up a lot of things around her, and when we were good, we were really good, but when we were not, it just kind of blew up funny. We actually went on a school retreat to, I think it was to a Native American reservation. It was kind of funny because she's so passionate. That's the big thing about her. She's very passionate, very caring, high energy, very much a drama person, though not in say melodrama sense, but she had some of that, but more like she loved dramatics. She brought me to go see Les Mis on a big stage. And it was kind of funny along the way. I'm glad I dated her because I learned a lot from that relationship. The first relationship was a very cute, puppy love relationship. I really didn't learn much out of it, or kind of learned what it meant to be in a date, but it was very cute, hand holding, that kind of stuff. And there was an intensity to the second one that I'll kind of always appreciate, because it kind of showed me more of the feeling side of it a lot more. The hardest part for that relationship was, and all this is happening while I'm having conversations with her about what do I want to do, that kind of stuff. It probably should have ended about 2 months earlier than it should have. but it was right around Christmas and Thanksgiving and all of that stuff. And I didn't have the heart to really break up with her at that point because I didn't want to be the guy who wrecked the day. Because I just think that makes you a major butthead if you ever decide to, like, if you can't hold out a week or two, or maybe like the week before, so they have a chance to redeem it. Like a big event, like a Valentine's Day or a Christmas or Thanksgiving, some holiday where they're going to celebrate. If you decide to just crap on it, that just makes you a butthead. So we started dating. I stopped dating probably mid-January, long enough to get through the holiday stuff. And that was about the time that Digital Girl started talking to me. And she was kind of watching me, and we were still talking the whole time throughout all of this. And one of the things that I noticed about her right away was, this is late 90s-ish. So this is kind of after the tail end that Batman animated cartoon series and the Superman stuff was on TV. And I would just take a half hour, since I graduated, half hour, watch my show, and then I'd be fine. But one of the things that always drove me crazy was the person I was dating, she would always call at the same time that the show went on. And all I ever wanted was just that little half hour period. If I had that half hour, pretty much the rest of my night would be hers and I wouldn't care. But I just wanted that space. That was my space. So one of the things that I appreciated or noticed about her right away is that the show ran from 3:30 to 4 o'clock, and she'd always call if she did about 3:58, 4:02, something like that. Or I would call her if it was an episode I'd seen already or something I didn't care about. I would call her about 3:40, something like that. We would talk and things like that. We went to her winter formal, and that was kind of weird because she was in the same building that the drama, the Nitro Girl, was. And so that was kind of an awkward moment. It's like, oh, so you're dating her. And she knew that she and I were talking, but we never thought anything about like dating or anything like that. So it took a little while where she was kind of feeling out the waters and that kind of stuff. But her two best friends, Nitro and not Digital Girl, noticed right away that there was nothing hinky going on. They knew that I was a good guy, that I wasn't trying to hurt anybody's feelings and that kind of stuff. And so they immediately did some checking on Digital Girl and decided that she was cool. And then they actually ended up defending me to her, which was kind of cool. After that, we just talked for a bit. We did the spring formal, and then we started dating more in earnest. Our first date actually was, thank God it didn't go this way. There was this very crude cult movie called Ravenous, which involves, let's see, I lost the word, cannibalism. Yeah, not a good date choice, but she loves me and thought I was cute. She was going to go do anything. Fortunately, that left the theater that night, and this movie called The Matrix got released, and so that ended up being our date movie. And we started dating, got along really well. We talked a lot. We did like the college thing where you walk around the campus and you talk, do fun things like that. The big thing for me at that time was she was about to go overseas on a school trip, and so I didn't have a problem investing into a relationship, but I was not willing to invest into a relationship where I knew she'd just be gone and I would disappear, because I just didn't have the space in my heart to be cast off. So I'm still torn on this, but I've been told by her mom and I've been told by her that she felt there was a choice. So Digital Girl decided it was either Europe or me. She chose me, so I feel honored. I kind of wish she would have seen Europe too, but looking at the speed of life, I don't know if she would have been really good for the program. One of her friends who went said she may not have been very good. I think she can adapt better than people give her credit for. Nonetheless, I definitely am grateful that she decided it was worth more than a European trip. Since we had known each other for a couple of years before that, we decided, you know what, we dated for like 3 months. That's about it. And at that point, we talked to each other and realized that like that kiss or kill moment comes in a relationship. You just go, is it a thing or is it not a thing? And we're not going to carry it on if it's not a thing. Both of us are very straightforward people. And at that point, I think I almost frightened her because there was like a mutual friend that thought I was actually trying to break up with her through all this stuff. And I wasn't. I was actually just trying to figure out, do I go wholehearted into this thing or do I just say thank you for the time and move on? And at that point, we talked about it and decided, yeah, we're going to go forward. What I think I like about, one of the things that I liked most about her when I was first dating, and at least the one thing that stuck out, was I knew my personality. I knew I could be bold. I know I could be not necessarily mean or anything like that, but potentially reckless. I knew that I would do wild things. And part of me kind of knew that that would never leave me. Thus I get to be Squirrel. And I needed someone who would be tough enough to handle me. Because after being in that first relationship, I realized that the drama I brought into it was too much for some people. And I needed someone who was more bold. And then I want someone who's too bold. And I needed someone who could balance me better, but still have the strength of being bold. And that's one of the things that I think really keeps drawing me in, is she's so much tougher than she looks. And people underestimate her all the time. She was the first one to graduate from her either side of her family from college. I mean, that's a big deal. And she had the learning disabilities and all that other stuff. Couldn't drive, figured these things out. Took her longer, but she graduated. And she's the only one from either side of her family who did. So, like, kudos to her. She accomplished something that nobody else in her family had. And I think I kind of always admired that toughness about her. Some days I don't always like it because, I wish she would just kind of roll with the punches better, but I'm also amazed because I think that's the same toughness that when she had the major medical thing that happened this spring, if she didn't have that toughness, she wouldn't have been able to be where we're at now, where I can talk much happier about her and home life is actually stable when work life is not. But I think I'm going to leave the engagement story, or how I asked you to marry her, another time. I'll use that as a tease for when I meet content and don't know what to do, and I can talk about life and weird things that happen when you get married. But I think I don't want to talk about her because she's probably one of the most important parts of my life. And frankly, I'm really thrilled that she's now healthy enough that we can start actually rebuilding our relationship and having fun again. I love that we can do road trips. Like last Wednesday, about a week ago, when New Kids found out that they're having a concert, I just said we can either do a show in town or we could do something in the stadium in Denver. And she says, okay, let's go to Denver. And so I love that she has that spirit of freedom, because somewhere along the way I thought I was supposed to get mellower as I get older. And I suppose if I compare myself to my younger version, I probably am. But I still have a wild streak in me, because I watch other people around my age, and maybe it's because we just never had kids, maybe it's because of my personality, maybe it's because they got settled into jobs and I never really found my job. But I've always had that wild streak that just won't go away. And I think that's one of the things I appreciate about her, is she tempers it for me. But she doesn't kill it. She just kind of gives me an anchor so I can come back to the world that people live in versus the world where my head wants to bounce around all the time. So that is my story today. I don't think it has a neat little bow on the end, other than maybe a potential tease later when I can talk about all the ridiculousness that goes with, deciding that you want to marry, Squirrelus Americanus and all the foolishness that may come by with it. If you like what you saw, go ahead and hit the like button. If you have any fun comments, stories on things that I said, please put it down on the bottom. I'd love to hear them. Otherwise, if you haven't subscribed and watching with some regularity, please hit the subscribe button. And otherwise, thank you for your time. Have a very good day. Bye.